Hi, I'm Anthony Roth Costanzo, and I'm thrilled to be a part of the Bang on a Can Marathon and premiere 2 songs by the incredible Joel Thompson, accompanied by Brian Wagorn. I am so tired and weary, so tired of the endless fight, so weary of waiting the dawn and finding endless that I ask but rest and quiet, rest for days that are gone, and quiet for the little space that I must journey on, that I must journey on. I must journey on. Because I had loved so deeply, because I had loved so long, God in His great compassion gave me the gift of song. Because I have loved so vainly, and sung with such faltering breath, the Master in infinite mercy gave me the boon of death. Thank you, Joel, for this incredible music. Thank you, Bang on a Can, for everything you do, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of the marathon. Bye!
Hey. Beautiful. Well, we're so thrilled to have Anthony and Joel join us now after that beautiful piece.
I want to, before we get into the conversation, I want to thank Dave Lake and Linda Wright for commissioning that piece. And Dave, I want to especially ask your forgiveness for mispronouncing your name. But Dave and Linda, thank you. That was great. What a beautiful new work we got from Joel Thompson, and what a great performance, Anthony. How did you guys? How did you work this out over Zoom or phone or whatever? What happened? Great. I think we're back on.
Well, thank you for putting us together. Thanks for the matchmaking.
Before we get into the conversation,
We're hearing somebody else has a device on at the same time.
Someone has a device on.
And Dave.
Maybe it's me. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
It's tricky because we're all watching, and then we're in this little Zoom conference.
Sorry.
Location. So it's it's new.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Joel, you were saying.
Yeah, that I just called Anthony, and I've been a fan of his and was really honored to get to work with him. And we just talked a little bit about what we wanted to create together. And we decided to look at some poetry from the sort of Harlem Renaissance, just looking for what we would like to say to this current moment. And we happened upon this poem by Joseph Cotter Jr., Supplication, that seemed to really encapsulate what we wanted to share with the world at this moment, with riots and pandemics and all of that. And so I got fast to work working on that, and I sent him a draft, and it was only 2 minutes, so then I had to pair it with something else. So I found another poem that was on our short list of what we wanted to set, and set that in conjunction with that, and they worked wonderfully together to my ear. And I'm curious to hear what Anthony thought about the juxtaposition of those two poems.
Well, thank you, Joel, for these pieces, and thank you, Bang on a Can, for everything and for making this matchmaking possible. I was really excited to work with Joel. I'd heard a lot about him, and so it was really fun he brought these poems to me, and there were a couple that immediately jumped out. But it's always exciting. And it's somewhat of a kind of trust pact when you get the music and you make a couple that immediately jumped out. But, it's always exciting. And it's somewhat of a kind of trust pact when you get the music and you make these choices about color, what you're hearing in the music, and hope in a way that that's what Joel was intending. And so, to me, there are these these opportunities for a kind of pure countertenor-y sound, and then but you can turn that almost into a jazz instrument, some kind of clarinet or some kind of thing like that. And so I know there's this one phrase that goes up to an F sharp at the very top that Joel had marked piano, and I was like, oh, what does that mean? And how do you, the opportunity, but getting into all those phrases, he gives these incredible triplet sort of descending bass lines in the piano. So it just felt like this kind of, you have to wail, and I don't know if that was the right choice, but it's all this stuff.
It was.
I was going to ask you about the F sharp, actually, because it jumps out so much as being both musically, kind of perfect at that moment, but also sort of unbelievable that you can even get that high. So it's really kind of really taking advantage of what it means to have a particular singer with a particular skill, and make the most of it.
Well, in our first conversation, Anthony said, I can float an F sharp. So I said, okay, will do.
What you offer, yeah.
Yeah, never say that. That's young singers. I think you should always give one note below what you think you can actually do. So.
The composer thinks you should always give one note past the note you think you should do. That's how composers and performers are different.
So true. But the other thing which I found really exciting, because a lot of times the impulse of the singer is to say, well, I can't do that. Can you change it to a living composer? But I actually like to look at what I can't do and think, why can't I do that? And think about if there's a solution. So there are a lot of really, really long phrases, actually. And the way that I instinctively approached them to sing them meant that I wasn't going to make it through. But then if I changed the dynamic approach, if I changed the texture, I changed the color, all of a sudden I found, okay, so it's not how I initially wanted to sing it, but this is how I can make it through. So it's an interesting dance between the practical and the artistic.
Oh, that's a beautiful sort of inside picture for listeners out there. You know, we've got a lot of musicians listening and a lot of musicians chatting in the chat, but a bunch of people have really no idea all the intricacies involved in notation and interpretation and technique. So these windows are really, it's wonderful to share.
It's really, thank you so much for that beautiful collaboration. And Joel, congratulations on the great new piece. And Anthony, it's so fantastic having you here on our virtual Bang on a Can Marathon, and hope to be able to be in the same room with you all sometime soon.
Live.
We're going on, and thanks to Dave Lake and Linda Wright for commissioning the piece.